Theological Seminary and did post-grad studies at Columbia Theological Seminary. He's been with the Juice Plus Company since 1988, and he's a national marketing director, a 100 Club Plus member, and he and his family, which includes Kurt Beavers, Lori, Jackie Beavers, they are just an incredible institution within our company. David was also chosen to be the recipient of the 2002 Founders Award, which is the highest honor in our company. He and his wife Sally have been married since 1996. They live in Nashville. They have 6 grown children and 19 grandchildren. He has had the actual honor of officiating the weddings of 4 of his own children, which is really cool. He enjoys coaching and mentoring people in their personal development. He even, in 2011, published his first book called Letters to Jonathan, The Story of a Life Rewritten. So, David is a 3-time closing speaker at the Juice Plus Live Conference, and he has a couple of guilty pleasures. And those things include wasting hours and hours watching James Corden's carpool karaoke. Don't we all have that? He loves to listen to the Beatles and the Beach Boys on Sirius XM while he's driving. He is a very proud baby boomer. He can't sing a lick, but in another life, his dream is to be the lead singer of a band. And if that didn't work, he'd be a surgeon. But I'll tell you one thing he can do even more than that, and that is he can help a group of women walk their way through the Brave Leaders Program, because David was my pod leader for the Brave Leaders Program, and he was Courtney's pod leader for the Brave Leaders Program. Different sessions. But if you have not done that program, get yourself fast-tracked to sales coordinator so you can be on KJ's list. David really changed the business of a huge group of us, and he has done so all along the way. We are so happy and joyful to announce him as our closing speaker and have him tie this Pajama Regional up with a big fat red bow. All right, David, you are unmuted. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Go for it.
Can you see me okay? I can't see my little box here.
His voice is a little bit
Yes,
muffled.
we can see you. You're all good.
He's got a reverb.
Yeah, the
Is
sound
that
is...
anything?
He's a turn sound speaker.
How's that look?
You're good. Perfect. That's perfect. We can hear you loud and clear.
All right. Well, let's get going. You still can see me, because I'm not very technical. In fact, you guys set me up when I did a little promotion for the Pajama Regional. I did my first Facebook Live video, which is like major thing. So thank you very much for that. I'm honored, as always. If someone wants me to speak, basically all they have to do is whisper. And I really appreciate this opportunity. What a great array of speakers and motivations and people's lives and stories. I love Jill's little piece there about, forgot how she talked about it, about talking to yourself. That's really good. Some of y'all may have husbands like this. There's a story of a guy who went into the grocery store, it's a husband, and he had a toddler in the cart with him who was inconsolable, crying like crazy. And so the man just kept saying, Charlie, calm down, don't fuss, it's going to be okay, shh, just be calm. And a lady in the produce aisle says, I commend you for calming down your little boy Charlie. And he says, lady, I'm Charlie. That's what we wait to talk to ourselves sometimes, don't we? And get a perspective on our lives, kind of go inside and see what's going on. One of the things I really like about what we're hearing today is this business is built around conversations, and it's not built around hype. Very important to me. I kind of gave up on hype. I gave up on motivationalism several years ago. Kind of weary of that. Inspiration works a little differently. Inspiration, inspiring healthy living, you heard that? Inspiration works, you touch a person's life on the inside and they figure out what needs to change. But you give them permission to make those changes. So I like conversations. That's what I want here, even though it's only flowing one way. It's going to be a conversation. I have no formulas, and I must accept the fact I think every speaker today probably did this, except the fact that some of you may leave a little confused. And this is, I'm going to try to put a bow on the regional, but all this is not going to be tied up in a neat package. There's no quick fix. You're going to have to think. You're going to have to reflect on this experience.
Yeah.
You're going to have to figure out some things yourself. And I'm going to talk about that today. First little thought, and I haven't really started yet, but I just want to say this. Make it happen sells better than let it go. There are moments when we must take charge, we must make it happen, like paying your bills, or exercising, or putting a trio order in your virtual office. But most of the time, it's about letting go. And that's hard to sell in our make it happen culture. Because real learning is really about unlearning. We've heard this week. We've talked a lot about that personal development piece. Letting go of the familiar, the certain, letting go of the stories that aren't working anymore for us. So to be successful, whatever that is to you, I'm going to invite you to pay attention. You're going to have to pay attention. And here's an important phrase, though. You can write this one down. You're going to have to learn how to be an amiable observer of your life. An amiable observer of your life. I'm fascinated by this big fancy word, and I'll share it with you. Psychotherapy. Comes from two words, Greek words, psyche, meaning soul, and therapeuo, meaning to listen to pay attention to observe. So psychotherapy means pay attention to your soul. The ultimate goal of a good psychotherapist is, number one, to love you, and number two, not to fix you, but to guide you into a relationship with yourself built around gentleness, humor, love, and respect. And I would add one more thing to that kind of package. You're going to need a fellow traveler, or several. Someone who listens to you and loves you unconditionally. Someone who, when you finally get naked and honest, doesn't try to fix you or move you to the top of her prayer list. I've got about 6 friends like that. I cannot shock them. I cannot shock them. That alone makes me the richest, most successful man I know. And I hope you have the same. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to unpack my talk. It's called 20 Secrets to Success, but only 2 really matter. And I've upgraded. I'm going to give you more for your money. I'm going to give you 3. But I'm going to embed those secrets in 3 basic observations about the things we've been talking about all weekend. 3 observations, and then I will let you know when I'm hitting on that secret. Observation number 1 is this. Juice Plus is a culture of encouragement.
Yeah.
Juice Plus is a culture. You've heard it from every story practically. Juice Plus is a culture where failing and falling down, where humbling moments and deep disappointments do not have the last word. But often they become the next step toward the fulfillment of your dreams. So here's secret number 1. Drum roll. Secret number 1 is give yourself permission to start over. Give yourself permission to start over. Many of you know who Kathy Crockett is. Kathy Crockett is just one of the most amazing women in our business. I've known Kathy. One of the great things about being around for so long is I've just got to watch people grow up, including myself. And Kathy's one of them. And Kathy made national marketing director. She has all the skills, all the gifts, all the abilities, all the natural things. In fact, when I look back, I realized that I stopped trying to guess who's going to be successful, who came into my business. But one time I was right. And when I met Kathy, I said, she's going to do it. And I was right. It's the only time I've been right. But Kathy Crockett made it. She made national marketing director. And she has so many gifts, so many skills. She was scattered everywhere. And her business suffered. And we had a conversation. And she was a little in a different place than I was. And I said, Kathy, you have a 7 club girl, and you're a national marketing director. She said, oh, really? We had a nice conversation. Now, long story short, she started over. Now, and she has a whole story behind this she would love to share with you. But let me just tell you one thing she told me this week when I talked to her about this and got permission to share some of this story. She did this for herself, and she tells people this, and I'm sharing this with you. When you're thinking about quitting, promise yourself this, that you will go to one more Juice Plus live conference. And she made that commitment to herself before she quit. And it turned around her mindset. Kathy Crockett is now a 100 Club member and one of the top national marketing directors in our company. She gave herself permission to start over. Now, to me, the story that blew me away, that really kind of early on shaped my own philosophy, came from Harriet Sulzer. Harriet's another 100 Club member. She's been around maybe a few months longer than me in the business, but she has a huge organization, and she is just an amazing woman. But she does tell this story about early on in her business. She's from Jackson, Tennessee, but she was living in Atlanta, and she set up an event in Jackson and drove the 8 hours to Jackson,
Mississippi.
invited dozens of people, rented a room at the Holiday Inn. This is back in the day when you had overhead projectors. Are you with me there? This is the dinosaur story. And 2 people showed up, her mother and her father. And she gave the presentation. And her parents loved it. She packed up the chairs. She folded up her overhead projector. She got in her car and drove home, wondering, what am I doing? And then she had an idea. She started calling all the people who didn't show up, who had said they were. And she said, we had a great meeting. We had a wonderful time, and I'm coming back in 2 weeks. Will you be there? So much has happened. She went back, the room was full, and the rest is history. When I called Hillary last week and talked to her about this, it was like a reunion. And she said, David, what if I hadn't gone back? She now has a 100 Club leg that starts in Jackson in the person of Dr. Doug Odom, who came out of that meeting when she came back. Harriet gave herself permission to start over. But what if she hadn't gone back? In the real world, we get up every morning, we brush our teeth again, hopefully. We eat our Juice Plus again. We take another shower. We get dressed again. In fact, we start our lives over every day. So understand this, starting over is not a recognition of failure, it's the relaunching of personal hope. And the principle I want you to get from this secret is this. In the Juice Plus business, we don't start over because we have to. We start over because we can. And it's a gift. Second observation. Juice Plus is a community of people who get to do what they love. Juice Plus is a community of people who get to do what they love for the people they love. Juice Plus is a community of people who get to do what they love for the people they love with the people they love. Wow, that's something. You've heard that. This amazing community. Human beings are uniquely relationship driven. Somewhere in an ancient text it says something like this: it's not good. It's not good for any person to be alone. We were born to belong. And most of us know by now that we grow and we thrive with our tribe, if it's the right tribe. And yet for many of us, fear, we've been talking about fear. Fear is probably the most likely reason. For many of us, for many reasons, we live in isolation. We're members of social groups, but we are stayed armored up and protected. We are gracious, but we are even better at being guarded. And it's fear. Fear of being known, fear of being found out, fear of losing face, being misunderstood, judged. And so it makes sense to me that it's hard to move into community. Paul Young, who wrote The Shack, in an interview I heard him say, most of our hurts come through relationships. But our healing will come through relationships as well. Because the past hurts. That's why it's hard to move into what I'm calling secret number 2. Secret number 2 is this: ask for help. Ask for help. It's very hard to do. We live in a performance-driven culture, and oh, by the way, remember, we do get paid a performance bonus. It's hard to shift. We are in a performance-driven business. So asking for help can feel like an admission of failure. Even if you're drowning, even if you're desperate. And I hear people say a lot, well, I'm stuck. And stuckness is almost like a malady. It's like a sentence to serve. But it should be seen as the opening, a doorway, a threshold to a new perspective. But that only happens if you ask for help. If we ask for help, here's the fear. They will know me. They will think I'm weak, needy, incompetent, a loser. And not only do we live in a performance-driven society, but we also swim in a shame-based culture. And here's shame. We can't delve into this, but I would love to for who knows how long. Here's shame. S-H-A-M-E. The reason we don't ask for help is because we should have already mastered everything. What a curse. Should have already mastered everything. People who ask for help, this is so counterintuitive. This is so out of the box of anything we think normally. People who ask for help actually have greater respect from their peers, greater trust, more connectedness than people who do not ask for help. More about that later. So you got a culture of encouragement. You got a community of people. I'm asking you to give yourself permission to start over. I'm asking you to be vulnerable enough to ask for help. And then the third thing, and you knew this was coming. You know this is my baby, right? A culture, a community, a course in personal development. And I've said for years it's a course in personal development cleverly disguised as a business. But you know what? It's not so disguised anymore. We're out there. I mean, we got the gloves off on this one. We're inviting people. When someone joins your team, he or she is being offered not only an opportunity to build a business, to change her financial future, she's given an invitation. It's almost like a summons to grow up, to finally show up, to keep an appointment with herself. Stop playing the victim. Stop blaming and own the outcomes in her life.
Wow.
Now, I wouldn't recommend you say that to someone when you're invited.
Dear Kimberly, I want to
It's a little
invite you
heavy.
to grow up.
It takes
here.
time. I mean, you've heard these
Yeah.
stories. I've been in the business 11 years, and I realized I had to dig in on my personal development. Now, in my experience, this is just my take on personal development, and it's such a deep, wonderful subject. The best catalyst for me to personal growth is what I call setting goals with a twist. Setting goals with a twist. In other words, here's secret number 3. Secret number 3 is learn to dream, learn to set goals with a twist. Now, if statistics prove correct, only 3% of you watching this have ever set any goals. Not many people do it. It's very limited. A lot of reasons why. This may be a good place, by the way, this may be where you jump off and you ask for help. And I'm going to give you a little a little plug here for a tool that will kind of give you an introduction, pretty deep dive introduction into setting goals. And it's a book called Success is Not an Accident.
Tommy Newberry.
Success is Not an Accident by Tommy Newberry. Writing goals will give you a sense of purpose and value. It will set you apart. It will set your heart apart. It will set up a different relationship with yourself. You've already, when you set goals, you've already started taking yourself more seriously. You've already started paying attention. This is a very personal and important habit for me. Very personal. Having written goals helps me stay connected to my life's purpose. And for me, it's a very daily thing. Thinking on paper, reading, revising, recommitting myself to my goals. But here's the real value. The real value in setting goals is the thing I call simplicity. I don't like a clutter in my life. I need lots of space. I'm busy, but I don't like being crowded. I need lots of space, and setting goals helps me get there. Now, this is going to be counterintuitive too. It's hard to imagine that becoming more committed to your dreams and passionate about your personal and business goals, your life will be less frantic and cluttered.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us feel overwhelmed when we're thinking about setting goals, and we don't want to risk the disappointment and despair of not reaching those goals. We don't want to go through another season of failing and falling short. So we say, I'm just going to do the best I can, I'm going to pray about it. If it happens, it happens. And here's what I've learned about that. You will have some people in our industry, you'll have some people in life say that the reason you're not reaching your goals, is for a lack of commitment. Your problem, my opinion, is not a lack of commitment. Our problem is overcommitment. When I chase everything, I achieve nothing. It's not that we want the wrong things, but that we strive for too many things. Setting goals is not about striving for more, it's about focusing on the few. It's not about adding stuff. It's about subtracting stuff. It's about letting go. That's the hard part. We all have a little bit of FOMO, a little fear of missing out. Don't want to miss the latest, the greatest, the best. So we're all over the place. Setting goals is about choosing something with your whole heart. It's about focus. It's about eliminating so you can concentrate. Holly spoke this morning about the book Traveler's Gift. I love that book too. I have a different quote from that book, and Andy says this, quote, "Most people fail at whatever they attempt because of an undecided heart. Should I? Should I not? Go forward? Go back? Success requires the emotional balance of a committed heart. And when confronted with a challenge, the committed heart will search for a solution. The undecided heart searches for an escape." Well, it's all about our story, isn't it? I first was introduced to Juice Plus while I was with the business, and it changed my life. I called a doctor who was in my organization when it first came out in those big, ugly orange boxes. That's how I heard about it. And I said, "Dr. Agnew, what do you think of this Juice Plus stuff?" He says, "This is the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's food. Food in a capsule." And he said, "Now, what will set us apart is if we don't go down the road of weird testimonies and we give our money to research." And we did. I love that. I love that we're not built on hype. We're built on science and stories. Now, I'm in good health. I'm grateful. I'm 71 years old. I don't take any medication. Work out every day. I have a personal trainer. I'm incredibly blessed. And I know that I will get sick, perhaps, someday. But my body is in a position to handle it better. And I'm so grateful for that. Juice Plus, no doubt, has saved my life in many ways. Heather mentioned a little bit about my background. I'm going to tell you a little bit of my story, a little bit unvarnished, make it quick and painless for you. I was born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia, a great family. My dad was a very successful businessman, had a series of stores all over Atlanta, Georgia. Beavers Furniture Store. The byline was, ours is inspiring healthy living around the world. His was, we work like beavers to please you.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a big brother, 8 years older. He was everything to me. Excuse the pun, we literally had a Leave It to Beaver family.
Kurt's dad.
Beautiful home,
Kurt's
North Atlanta, lived near Buckhead, Chastain Park. And then about age 11, 12, 13, came the first real defining moment in my life. And that was the death of my mother, who battled cancer for 3 years. She was 45. I was 14. My dad remarried in 4 months. And what had been sort of an idyllic life in the country, nice home, kind of went into a turmoil, chaotic spin. But I weathered it. I was popular. I was successful. I went to high school, at Dykes High School. I was popular. I was president of my class. I was captain of the football team. Made good grades. Went to Vanderbilt. Success followed me everywhere I went, literally.
Mm-hmm.
But underneath, I was really hurting. I remained a little boy on the inside, scared to death that someone would disapprove of him. If you'd gone to school with me or played football or baseball with me, you would have never known that. Second defining moment in my life was in my senior year of high school. The parents of the girl I was dating were very influential, and they led me into an authentic spiritual experience that changed the direction of my life completely. and I've never recovered from it. I've never doubted the realness of it, but I also know this, that church and ministry and counseling and Bible teaching also created another platform for me, another arena where I was not only successful, but where I was also driven by the fear of disapproval and a desperate need for validation and acceptance. When I was 36 years old in 1983, I was married, had 3 children under 11. I was a pastor of a church. And my life started to unravel. You didn't get that last word, it's unravel. By the time I was 40, it was all gone. Family, marriage, ministry, finances, home, credibility, all gone. The next 10 years would be a season for me of confusion and shame. 10 years plus. Into the middle of this mess stepped my sister-in-law. Jackie Beavers, and her 23-year-old son, Kurt. I had no job, had no income. I was living in Atlanta with my 79-year-old father who had just been diagnosed with cancer. Kurt and Jackie said, "We want you to join us and work with us." I had no clue. Jackie said if I stayed with it, I'd eventually get it. So I said, okay. The first 5 years with this company was an utter roller coaster experience. Eventually, following my father's death, I moved back to Nashville by myself, divorced, and my kids, they were living with their mom in Atlanta. And most of what I was earning with Juice Plus was going back to them. It really wasn't even Juice Plus by then, but I was with this company. I couldn't afford rent for an apartment. So a friend connected me to a couple who asked me to house sit for them. Their house was empty. The house was in one of the most, it is not one of the most, it is the most beautiful neighborhood in Nashville. I lived there at no cost for 2 years, starting my business. When my car fell apart, another friend, who obviously saw how successful I was going to graduate school, and he said, "Why don't you take over the lease on my car for the last 9 months? It's a Mercedes." So I'm living in this multi-million-dollar estate and driving a Mercedes, and I don't have 2 dimes to rub together.
He was a hot mess.
Have y'all heard that great duet, George Michael and Elton John, "Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me"? Great phrase here. Elton John says, "'Cause losing everything is like the sun going down on me." In 1993, the sun peeked out from behind the clouds. I'm now 46 years old. And 3 things happened for me. 3 things. First, I moved into my own place, a $300 a month, 1-bedroom duplex. That was so exciting. My own place. Next, Juice Plus was introduced to our company. We had no idea what we had. No idea. Another box, another vitamin. What was this? Fruits and vegetables and a capsule. All right. I've got 5 years of Greek, 4 years of Hebrew, 3 years of Latin, and I'm selling fruits and vegetables. Third thing happened.
He's doing this just right across town. He's over just in the west part of town right
Big
now.
change.
Is where he lives. Yeah.
Big change. Hope showed up. I'm 71 years old now, and it has been a blink. A blink. I recently read that in 1900, get this, the average lifespan in America was 47 years old.
Really?
Today, many of us are given enough years to live several lives, to be blessed and experience, as I have, what I would call a second adulthood. Now, the second adulthood is not a chronological thing. It could happen when you're 23. It could happen when you're like me, 46, 45. It's not chronological. But I look at the first 45 years of my life as a kind of first adulthood, a kind of starter kit. It got me going for a while. And in my case, it fell apart completely. And it forced me to question what I call, and this is why I want you to write these down, what I call the 5 rules. Am I unstable here? Okay. The 5 rules of the first adulthood. First rule, I am what I have. Second rule, I am what I do. Third rule, I am what others say or think of me. Fourth rule, I am nothing more than my worst moment. Rule number 5, I'm nothing less than my best moment. Now, because of time constraints, I must let you wrestle with those questions on your own, just as I have for the last 30 years. Next few years were critical, and here's what happened. I started over. I asked for help, and I got it. I asked Elton DeBose at the home office, I need help. And he sent me a crazy Cajun boxing promoter in the shape of Kerry Daigle. He came and spent 3 days with me in Nashville. And if you know him, you know what I mean when I say I have never recovered.
No.
He poured into me for 3 days and completely flipped my paradigm for how to do the business. He taught me how to promote events. And here's what I learned from Kerry and events and starting over. Number 1, if you will share your Juice Plus story with a few people, you can make a decent part-time income. If you will also build a team of committed people, you can make a better than average income. But if you will also learn how to promote, attend, and create events, you will make a fortune. Thank you, Kerry.
Mm-hmm.
With that kind of love and support, I decided to give myself wholeheartedly to the Juice Plus business. And along the way, I recovered my love for teaching and mentoring. I set some goals. One of the first goals that Sally and I set together was for her to retire from teaching. We wanted to travel together. She had 1 day off a year. She couldn't travel with me. We wanted to be together as much as possible. And here's the goal. Sally, she's sitting right here. Sally, when my monthly Juice Plus income matches your annual teaching salary, I want you to retire. 6 years after we were married, that's what happened. Today we live in a beautiful home, and it's paid for. We live in a home in the same neighborhood where our house sat for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And every day I drive by that estate going to the grocery store, going to work out. I drive by it 2-3 times a day, and every day I just whisper, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Now, I want to close with some interesting pieces about your story. My good friend Richard Rohr, Franciscan priest, says this: we cannot see something we've never been told to look for. That's why we tell our stories. Stories give people a vision. Stories give people a picture, a bridge in their minds of how to get from here to there. Stories plant the seeds of hope in the hearts of people. And that's whatever is going on in your life. When you tell your story, you're stepping into another person's life, and you're planting the seeds of hope. Now I'm going to close with one final story. The first time I met Amber Weaver was on a 3-way call with Kathy Crockett. This was 5 years ago. You know, Amber, she's a national marketing director. She and Barry have just built a new home in Texas. They're just a phenomenal couple, 2 of my most favorite people, 3 beautiful children. But when I met Amber 5 years ago, she was a sales coordinator, and Kathy wanted me to spend a little time with her. So we talked about the business, we talked about her expectations, her dreams, and her goals. And I shared some of my experiences with Amber. And it was then that Amber, I don't know why, but she just opened up and started telling Kathy and me the inside story. And when she had finished, she explained rather sheepishly that she'd never shared this part of her story with anyone. And here's what she told Kathy and me. In 2003, I was 21 years old, and my husband Matthew took his own life. A week after his funeral, I found out that I was 3 weeks pregnant. And that beautiful little boy was born in 2004, Benjamin. I asked Amber, I said, what did you do? And she described it as just feeling utterly hopeless, an emotional heaviness, going through the motions. She said there are days of just, what next? It was dark, and she said it was very lonely. Then she told me that she had found someone to help her. She was working closely with a life coach. Someone, she says, this is so good. She says, someone who handles her with grace, truth, and compassion. Amber says, he's taught me how to center myself, to deal with my thoughts and emotions. I work hard to stay balanced. I take time to rest and be led by others. I ask for help. I ask God every day to use me as a picture of hope for others. Mm-hmm. It's been a struggle to put the pieces together to find normal again. But the struggle has made me. I see things differently. I think I'm more patient. I think I'm more raw. I think I'm more real. After all this, I said, Amber, listen to me. Like a father, I said, Amber, listen, whenever you tell your story to someone, tell it from that place. Tell it from the broken places in your life. It's real, it's authentic, and it gives people hope. You don't have to give every single detail of your life every time you share your story, but we can all tell our stories from that special place. I believe we all can. You've heard it this weekend. We can all tell our stories from the broken places, the imperfect places in our lives, It will take some courage. It will take time. It will take some testing of the waters. But once we've integrated our experiences into our lives, once we realize that there's no shame in struggling, that there's no need to place blame anywhere, that we can forgive ourselves, we can forget our reality for being whatever it is, we can tell our stories, our real stories, and guess what? People will get it. And here's the final thought. We give people hope, not only when we tell our stories, we give people hope when we listen to their stories. When we truly listen to people, we make their stories sacred. We elevate their journey and their dreams to something that carries meaning and purpose, and we give them permission to tell their stories from their broken places. Here's the big takeaway for the weekend, for all of us. It all comes down to this. Someone came along in my life and had the courage to share her story. And that has made all the difference.
Mm-hmm.
I want to thank all of you for making the decision to be with us this weekend. It's already changed my life. The next time we're together as a Juice Plus family will be in 75 days at the Juice Plus Live conference in Tampa, Florida. 75 days. Just think of all the stories, all the seeds of hope we're going to plant. It will be 25 years of Juice Plus history. So today might be a good day for all of us to start over. Ask for help. And learn to give your whole heart to the thing that matters most to you. I'll see you in Tampa. Thank you.
But I'm gonna try really hard to do this without crying. And the brokenness of life, and the things that we go through, what you said today made me feel like it's okay to start over. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I'm gonna unmute the other committee members. Hang on, guys. Thank you, David. All right, get my face off the screen. It's an ugly cry.
I've never
Thank you for sharing so much. We really, really appreciate you. Love you. Okay, hang on, guys. Let me get Tammy. Take me just a second. I'm coming. All right, Tammy, you are unmuted, my love. Tammy. Whoa. Yeah, you got it. All right, Lisa, I'm coming to you next, Lisa. All right, hold on. Lisa Paget. All right, Lisa, you're now unmuted, and I'm going to Rachel. Hang on. So give us 1 second, guys. Don't go anywhere. We've got some prizes coming your way. Hold on. All right. Rachel, you're unmuted as well. Okay. Tammy, give us some prizes, girl. Give us some prizes.
Okay. All right. I'm so excited. It's not the most. Okay. I'm hearing.
It's in your space, baby. We don't hear it.
You don't hear it here? All right, we're good. All right, guys. Was that not the most beautiful pie on this incredible event this weekend? Wow. All right, well, what I'm excited to share. So we have some amazing door prizes that we're doing. So make sure you watch the Facebook group page. So we've posted some things that you can comment on. There are so many. That can win door prizes. Everybody has been so generous. We already gave away 2 conference tickets, 1 Paget boot camp ticket. And let me just share with you, we're going to be doing our live again later today. Rachel Smart's going to go live with me today so that we can go through the Facebook page, take a look at all of the comments. We've got some fun prizes. So let me just share with you what we are giving away today. So there are 2 more conference tickets that we want to give away. We also are looking for who had the most in attendance, taking a picture of your group, posting it underneath the post that we have. So you'll want to make sure that you comment under the post so I can see who is responding to that. So anybody can win on that. We're going to be giving away a Pajama Regional Experience basket for the next PJ Regional. That's going to include some of our fun swag and get you ready, snacks and all, for the next PJ Regional. We also have a post on who traveled the furthest. Make sure you put, it's been fun to look at some of those comments, like Zero. They went to their couch and the team came over. I love it. So make sure you comment underneath that, because that winner is going to win $50 cash for who traveled the furthest, okay? We also, oh my goodness, there were some fun comments on this. Who had matching shirts, matching PJs, matching socks? We had all that. So make sure that you do that. And each person that is a part of that group is going to win a prize. So make sure that you post pictures underneath that post on the Facebook page. All right. And also we had one who has attended all 6 JP Pajama Regionals, and I had the dates on there. Yeah, that's right, we have. So we have the dates listed. If you were part of the very first one in April of 2020.